Hi there, Karen here, with of course Whiskey Sour, my partner in crime. Hope you guys are having a great time over there, whatever you're doing. I wrote a blog today called, Who Has Daddy Issues? Today would have been my father's 75th birthday. This is completely insane to me. I have a grandfather who'd passed away when he was around that age, my mother's father. And I was just thinking of how I had siblings who are close to my father's age when he died. So it's just really crazy. That's why I try not to think about numbers too much, but I was thinking about what would all happen today. You know, would we have a big party for him, and would, you know, all the kids and grandkids and everything come over? And I don't know, it's 75, it just seems like that's a real milestone to me. And I think my father would have been a really fantastic dad. I last Christmas went and saw one of his brothers who's in his 80s, and my one uncle, and he's really super funny. And I thought that'd be pretty cool if my dad was around, that the two of them could just, you know, sit around and chat. So I do miss my dad, even though it's been a really long time. I was watching Goldmember when I was going to sleep last night. For any of you who remember that scene where Austin Powers and Dr. Evil are in the jail, you'll know why I was laughing so hard at the whole daddy issues. But part of me laughs because I apparently did have daddy issues. My father had passed away when I was nicely 6. And he was a very good daddy and a very strong leader. And he kept his house in line, that's for sure. Strict, with a twisted sense of humor. Very stubborn, but very loving. Very good dad. Some people say that STEVER men are too tough. But I think that would have been better than the alternative, which is what I ended up with, was a household with a single mom raising 4 kids. And each one of us had that really fiery, stubborn STEVER temper. So she had to deal with all that, because of course I told you before, if an angel ever roamed the earth, it was my mother. Very gentle spirit. And my mom's side of the family, very gentle. My dad's side of the family, very fiery, but twisted and warped and very musical and very cool. So my mom had to deal with that. This daddy issues thing, it's a phrase which gets used a lot. I've heard the term given to women who are promiscuous, ungrounded, angry, misled, depressed. And some of those apply to me. I'll let you guys sort out which ones those are. But at some point in my life, I had to get past the labeling of daddy issues. Am I going to use this term as a crutch for my whole life, just because some counselor told me that that's what I had? It's fine that if that really is a clinical term of what they teach you in psychology class, although I doubt it. It is another phrase out there which gets passed around, which doesn't seem to be very helpful. Again, there's so many of these phrases that we say to each other that we regurgitate that just aren't helpful. Oh, good. So, I have daddy issues. Awesome. Now what do I do with this information? Do I just tell every man that I run into to stand back as though I have some contagious illness? Do I sit in some daddy issue support meeting, is there such a thing, weeks after weeks until I just earn enough club points to cash it in for some vacation? Like, what do you do with it? What do you do with the information? This is a question you'll hear me ask a lot. Great. What do I do with the information? And I had to realize that my issues were not that simple. It might take a mildly okay psychologist to diagnose the illness as daddy issues. But it takes way more effort to, first of all, understand what the phrase means, and then systematically get through the series of sessions that's required for our healing. And there is such a danger with giving that phrase to someone, because the label then acts like a ball and chain on you. and just sits around your ankle for your whole life. Without properly getting to the root of the problem, the label makes us completely incapacitated, and we act like a bird who's just been downed by a broken wing. We just stumble through life with, there's our daddy issue. That's the girl with daddy issues. Oh, I'm a girl with daddy issues. Hey, look at me, I got daddy issues. Oh, don't do that, I got daddy issues. Oh, don't look at her, she's got daddy issues. Like, all of a sudden it becomes this really big ball and chain. And as it turns out, my daddy issues were just a nice way of saying that every male contact I had was problematic, you know? But what I don't like is that my father's death had to take the blame for it all. My brother was my best friend growing up. He's a great man. I have no problems with him. It's kind of unfair that my father should have to take the blame. My father loved to fly airplanes, he loved to build airplanes, and he accidentally died doing it. And that's not where the blame should be. I don't think it's fair that this label has to go back as far as being the fault of my father for crashing his airplane. My childhood was perfectly lovely. Like, he died when I was 6, and then my childhood was perfectly lovely until I was sexually assaulted by a man between the ages of 11 and 14. And that is not a daddy issue, that's an assault issue. So in looking back, it should have been dealt with better. I've been recently trying to deal with just recently, I've only been nicely trying to get past this whole hurdle. It's taken a long time, and for any of you who have been molested, assaulted, whatever, especially as a preteen or a young teen, not to mention just as an individual, I've only nicely beginning to get through this, and it's because I quit viewing the man. I don't know what that noise is, Los Angeles noises. I quit viewing the man as a father figure, and I just started looking at him as my assailant, as the guy who, I shouldn't even say my, because I'm not having any ownership of that guy, as the assailant in my life, as the abuser. I was attacked. That's the issue. The issue is not daddy issues. This is not my father's fault. It is not my mother's fault. She didn't set me up for it. I could have gone on to say I had mommy issues if I blamed her for setting it up this way, but as if she saw that one coming. So that's where daddy issues can be used as a way to blame somebody, and I don't think that's cool either. And we're all given so many labels, and we're over-labeling our children too. Oh, don't even, that's a whole blog. Labeling our children, grouping them into these big groups of things that aren't helping them. And I think what we're not doing is addressing what is happening to us and to them, to the children and stuff as well. So on this day, I intend on celebrating my father by relieving him completely of being at any fault for any other man attacking me in my life. There's absolutely no way he could have known that by building an airplane and flying his airplanes, and that would have led to a death that would have caused all his children years of trouble. And some experts would say that that bleeds into the lives of grandchildren as well. It's an incident which, yes, has some consequence, but is it my father's fault? You know, I don't think that might be where something started, but I don't think that should have to be our ball and chain the whole life. And it's true that his absence was felt in my home, but I'm not going to give him or anyone else this term daddy issues. I can think of, I certainly can't think of a scenario anymore where it applies. It doesn't seem to apply. And if your own father, my father was not a jerk or an abuser, but if you have a father who is a jerk or an abuser, you have issues with an abuser. That's what the issue is. And of course it adds a unique dimension when they're related to you, but I'm not sure that it leads to anything healing, nor is it helpful to just say daddy issue. You know, daddy issue sounds like a good thing, right? You know, it's just, but you hear the term used a lot when women are dating and they might get kind of clingy or something, or there's some issue there that stems back to their father, so they just call it a daddy issue and call it a day. Well, it's unfair to the fathers, it becomes a ball and chain to us, and then we consequently don't get to the issue. My experience anyway. So who has daddy issues? To me, nobody. People have issues. They have direct issues. There might be some correlation back to their father, but I really believe that that shouldn't hang on for 30 or more years. You know, it's ridiculous. So I signed off today. Happy birthday, Daddy. You gave me way more than anyone could ever accuse you of taking from me. And I signed off with an Anne Frank quote today. I thought this was fantastic. She's so great. I mean, pretty much everything I read from Anne Frank is fantastic. But this was especially awesome. How true Daddy's words were when he said, "All children must look after their own upbringing. Parents can only give good advice or put them on the right path. But the final forming of a person's character lies in their own hands." And at some point in time, I had to, and I'm not suggesting all you guys do because everybody has their own way to heal and get through their problems and stuff. But what I had to do is relieve my father completely of what my issues were and just start standing up and facing my issues systematically, getting to the root and not putting the blame on him. And he was an awesome daddy. He gave me so much. So I'm not going to allow something to jeopardize how I feel about that. So I thought I'd share that with you anyway today on my father's 75th birthday. He's definitely flying somewhere. Can tell you that right now. That man loved to fly. Would drop us off at church and go to the airport. Loved to fly because he felt closer to God that way, he said. So I hope he is flying somewhere. I know he's flying somewhere. So thought I'd share that with you, and I hope that you guys are doing really awesome out there, and that you're getting all set and ready for Christmas and whatever holidays, traditions that you celebrate, okay? So I will talk to you guys again tomorrow, and from Whiskey Sour and me, till next time, rock on.